Hello everybody, Carol Garrison here with Carol's Creative Escape. It is time for another Make It Monday. Today is Monday, December 16th, and I am going to share with you a suite of products that came to us through the new mini catalog that'll be available for people starting January 7th of 2025. This is a really nice springy suite of products that I'm going to share with you tonight. And I think that you are going to want to add this to your wish list right away once you see this card. Again, my name is Carol Garrison. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator from, hi Susan, White Bear Lake, Minnesota. And I have been making cards for over 30 years and stamping for most of that time, working with Stampin' Up! Products for the last about 12 years now. I am going to just flip my camera over here. Hang on one second while I get you connected in. You can see my lovely ceiling. Sorry about that. My camera, or vision actually on my phone just disappeared. That doesn't happen very often. Fortunately, I didn't lose everything. There we go. Let's hope that that's not how the rest of the program is going to go tonight. I'm home by myself and I've got 2 cats down here so far. Kind of expect that another one is going to join us. So I can't show you the catalog because it is the new mini catalog, but I will tell you that it is by far one of my most favorite catalogs. I've ordered a ton of stuff out of it. All because I really like it. And what I am sharing with you today is called Beautiful Bokeh. It's a suite of products that can be found on page 38 and 39 in that catalog when it comes out. And if you remember years ago, bokeh was a big thing, and you did it with taking holes and punching them out of a window sheet and sponging them with the craft white paint. Well, we now have some beautiful designer series paper, and it is called Beautiful Bokeh. And I am just going to share that with you real quickly tonight. The colors in this paper are Balmy Blue, Berry Burst, Calypso Coral, Daffodil Delight, and Fresh Freesia. And so on one side, it's got just the lovely bokeh with those light little circles all over it. So we've got that in the Berry Burst. This is kind of Petunia Pop or Fresh Freesia, Bubblegum. That is in there. Calypso Coral, Daffodil Delight. And then we've got this. It's just kind of a combination of colors. And then Balmy Blue. And when you flip these things over, you've got not quite bokeh, but just kind of an all-over pattern that combines some of these colors. So really bright, springy type colors. So that's one fun part about the suite, is just this 6x6 designer series paper. If you watch my videos, you know how much I like my designer series paper. The next thing that it comes with is the Beautiful Butterflies stamp set. And it's not uncommon that we have butterflies in our annual catalogs, but it's been a while since we've had some that I really like and can use. And there's this really cool die set that coordinates with this. It's called Beautiful Butterflies Dies, and there's one die in this that is different from any die I recall Stampin' Up! Ever having, and that is this die right here. And what's cool about it is it's got this line that you can line up at the top of a card right along the score line where you fold your card in half, and it will create a butterfly card for you. And I'll show you real quick a couple examples of what I mean by that. Hopefully, I don't want to reveal too much under here, but this is what that die can do. So you can create either a butterfly card that I can't open like this, so along those seams, or you could have it just as the front of a card and still have that base. I still need to work a little bit on getting it lined up quite right, doing that type of thing, but I love that die. I think that one's going to be a lot of fun. Now, in addition to these pieces, it also comes with this amazing Beautiful Butterflies 3D hybrid embossing folder. So you can actually take that butterfly die and put it in here, and that will cut and emboss that butterfly. So again, I got the suite of products. Something else that's included in this suite of products is the Itty Bitty Bokeh Mix. And these are a lot of kind of sparkly, silvery blues, magentas, the colors that are in there. These really cool looking things, kind of like a sun, or I don't know. It's not just your typical sequin because it's got more detail to it than that. And we're going to use these today to make a shaker card. A real shaker card, not an imitation shaker card like I have done. So as I worked through this, I wanted to show you how everything looks when it's stamped out. I used Petunia Pop on my cardstock here just so that you know what color I'm working with. I'm going to set that sequin. I don't want to waste any of those. So these are each of the stamped images. Time to celebrate in case you need me. I'm here. Hello. So thankful for you and happy birthday. I'm making a birthday card. I still need to figure out really how I'm going to use these pieces. Just haven't quite figured that out yet, but I will. I just started playing with this one today. So we'll work our way through it. Now flip this over, and here I can show you all the dies and what they cut out. So this is just that butterfly that you see the profile of, and that's what it looks like when it's stamped. Here it is looking straight down on it. Got these two great butterfly die cuts. This is the butterfly die cut, just stamped. So that's what that looks like. Lots of fun if you wanted to color that. I was thinking you could do some cool stuff if you still have vellum around, coloring on the back. It's got 3 body parts. Obviously, the smaller ones are going to go with this or fit on here. The larger one fits on here. And then this is what the butterfly looks like when you run it through the hybrid 3D embossing folder. I'm going to lift that up just a little bit so you can kind of see some of the detail in it. And then this is the die cut of the butterfly image that gets all the cool lines and windows in it. These are the 2 stamp or dies that you can use for your greetings that are in there. The happy birthday and so thankful fit in there. The other greetings are too big for that, but I know that we have a lot of other greetings in our stamp sets, I'm sure, that will fit into those as well. And then I'm going to just get rid of that, and this is what that embossing folder looks like when it's fully embossed without die cutting anything. I really like this too all by itself. I think you could have fun doing some brushing on with blending brushes and stuff to get some color in here. But this is it, just plain, running it through the embossing folder. And this side, I think you could also use this side. Sometimes some look better than others, but that butterfly would look good either way. Just depends on what you're going for. So you kind of have, I like it better this way, but it could be done that other way too. So I don't actually have a finished card to show you ahead of time tonight. What I do have are all the pieces cut, and I'm going to give you dimensions as we're working through that. We're going to start with a piece of cardstock that measures 5.5 by 8.5, scored at 4 1/4. I'm just going to use my bone folder to burnish that. And then I've got just little bits and pieces of paper here. This is a piece of our designer series paper, and I've cut this smaller than the image that I'm working with for my full card because I don't want it to show up on the edges. And I can't find my ruler right now, so I'm going to dig out this. So this measures 3 7/8 by 5 1/8. So that's just the designer series paper. And then I've also got a piece of the balmy blue that I cut out. This measures 4 1/8 by 5 3/8, and I have already run this through to first die cut my butterfly. I know I want this window opening in the card. What I wasn't sure of is if I wanted to have this over my image. So as long as I was cutting the butterfly, I went ahead and die cut this piece out. And actually, look at this cool outline that you get. You could use this as a stencil. That may be where that one stamp that I said, I don't know what I'm going to do with this yet. Maybe I can use that somehow to color in here. I just need to play and figure a few things out, but I really thought this outline is something I could do something with. So I don't even know if I'm going to use these pieces, but as long as I had to die cut the butterfly, I went ahead and did this piece as well, just in case. We'll kind of see what happens. I also have a piece of window sheet that again will fill the opening, but is slightly smaller than my piece of cardstock because again, I don't want it hanging over the edges. And then finally, because I don't trust my own stamping, or sometimes you don't get it centered or whatever, I have just cut this out of some basic white card scraps, but I cut a few extra, figuring if I screw up stamping it for this card, great, I've got extras. If I don't, great, I have extras and I'll use them for another project. Okay, so to get started on this, the very first thing I want to do, oh, I also have a piece of 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, nope, 4 by 5 1/4 inch piece of basic white cardstock for the inside. So the very first thing that I'm going to do is adhere my window sheet to the back of my embossed image here. So I'm just going to run tape all the way around here. And I want this to adhere really well because it is a 3D embossing folder. I do go light in my touch, but I also want to make sure that I'm getting a lot of tape on there. And I go light with the touch because sometimes on these 3D embossing folders, you can actually tear just because it goes so deep into the grain of the paper. But first thing I need to do is just cover this butterfly. So now I've got this wonderful window opening. And at some point, if I want to add this, I can. I'm going to kind of see what happens when we're done, because I don't know for sure. And then the next thing that I'm going to do, and this is going to be slightly putsy, I've got some of the strips of the foam, which you can get out of the annual catalog. And I'm just going to start by putting these around my butterfly image without going over the window, because I don't want it to show. And I have slightly shorter strips right here. These were left over from a paper pumpkin. And so I am using these just to use them up. But the longer strips that you can get from the annual catalog work just as well. All right. So I'm just kind of carefully going in. I'm not going to go all the way into where it angles in like that. Simply because I think it's not necessary, really. Let me grab another piece here. And I'm just going to start lining up right where I ended because I don't want any gaps where sequins can fall out. I thought about just kind of making this a square, but I decided I'd go through more sequins that way. And I didn't want to really waste my sequins too much. I've got a little bit of overlap here, so I'm going to grab my scissors that I don't care if they get sticky and just trim off that overlap. And then I need to get a little piece for right in here so that the top of my butterfly is covered. So let me just trim off a piece. And gosh, I guess pretty good on that. Again, I want to make sure it doesn't show, whoops, it's upside down, that it's not going to show through on the antlers, but that it's close enough that it's not going to put anything else, you know, let anything slip through. Now, because this is big enough and this is all in the center, I do want to add some dimensionals to the corners of this layer, just so that it helps. These are not going to be as thick as that foam piece. Actually, I'm going to try it without, because hopefully that foam is going to hold it. All right, I'm going to set that aside for a second. The next thing I want to do is adhere this to my card, and I'm actually going to make mine horizontal. And when I place this on here, I want to make sure I'm picking up some of that blue. So I just want to make sure I'm giving it the best placement on my card front. And we're going to center this. This doesn't have to be perfect because it will be all covered up. And before we go a whole lot further, I do want to stamp my images so that I'm sure I'm giving this ink enough time to dry. So I'm going to grab my Balmy Blue ink, and I've got my 2 stamps ready to go. Let me grab my piercing mat, and on the inside I want to put Time to Celebrate. So I'm just going to stamp that right in the middle. And you'll notice, because I used kind of a red based, purple based ink the first time, that my stamps have a slight pink tone to them. I actually don't mind when they have that, because it helps me see them better on my paper when I'm stamping. So if that happens to yours, don't stress about it. It doesn't hurt the stamp at all, and sometimes it can make stamping even easier. So the next thing I'm going to do is just stamp the happy birthday sentiment. And my goal is to center it on this. So let's see what happens and how many times. At least I've got my backup. And I'm okay with that. We're going to leave it. Sometimes if you fuss too much about it, you pay a price for that too, don't you? So we're going to set those aside. We'll make sure that ink is really dry. And then we are going to start putting some staticky sequins right into our butterfly here. And this will form the shaker. I am fighting a little bit of static tonight, but I think, oh, that's a big ball. I'm not sure how well that's going to work in the card, because it's deeper. Yeah, that's going to get stuck because it's actually bigger than my card is going to be thick. Oh, static. We'll see if we can get this stuff off. Where is my... we thought this was just for cleaning stamps, but guess what? It works really good at getting rid of some of the static so that you're not wasting any of your sequins. It's kind of funny because I've got a dog who's got really floppy ears, and he's got really long hair that comes off his ears. So we kind of tease him when he's outside in the wind. He looks like Fabio with his ears blowing in the wind. But when he's down playing in our lower level of our house where there's carpet, he tends to pick up a lot of static, and then the hair sticks out on his ears. And I feel like I'm kind of dealing with some of that. He also knows that if we touch him, it's going to hurt. So if you come up to him when he's down here, he will cower because he doesn't want to get any electrical shocks from, oops, get in there. He doesn't want you touching him and inadvertently zapping him because of the heat or the static that he has built up. All right, note to self. Use static guard or something before you start working on this. But if you do run into issues, I'm literally just sticking my finger in onto my Simply Chamois, and that is knocking down the static. You do not want any of these sticking right to your tape once you've peeled the back off, because that will affect how it seals. But if you use that little water trick, then you can get rid of them for the most part, except for that one. That one does not want to go. There we go. All right. I need to come up to here. And then the last thing I need to get is this little piece. Now, the first time I made a shaker card, I made this mistake, so I'm going to tell you about it, but not show you the mistake that I made. I picked this piece up to flip it over and attach to the front of my card. Don't do that, because you'll spill all of that. So I know that this piece is almost the same size, and so I am just going to lightly adhere it, lining it up, and just lightly adhere without it totally being stuck, and hope that I got it fairly centered. And I did not. I'm off just a little bit. And that's why I adhered it lightly. And it all came off. So the other thing that I could have done and didn't do, and I'm not going to do at this point, is I could have just kind of made this a pile in the center of my card. Actually, let's see what happens. I think I might regret this, but I'll have to pick it up off the sticky part. So I'm just going to have my sequins all bunched up. I haven't made one of these in a long time, and I didn't look at directions. It's all right. It's all good. If I'd been smart, I would have done this the first place. As you can see, I do have sequins stuck on my tape. So I do have a regret from that perspective of not doing this differently, but that's all right. And it looks like I've got a piece of cat hair in there. We're going to get rid of that. And tonight's one of those nights I'm really hoping I don't have a kitty joining me up here, because you can imagine that they would jump right into the middle of this. Sorry for the delay on this. That's not what my intent was. Why don't we talk about the weather, huh? Last week, I think when I was live, I was telling you that we had really bitter cold temperatures. Well, it did warm up this weekend. Saturday, we actually had kind of a rainy, sleety, frozen mix, made for some dangerous roads. My daughter's a 911 operator, and they were fairly busy responding or taking calls in response to car accidents that had occurred. Fortunately, she had no problems getting to and from work that night. This morning, I was a little nervous about driving in, but the freeways were actually pretty good. Maybe just a little bit damp, not a big deal. And by the time I got to work, I have about a 30-minute commute or so, 35 minutes. the temp had dropped just enough, so when I got off the freeway, my side streets were frozen ice. And I admit, I was not fully prepared, so my first intersection that I came to, all I could do is start praying that my car was going to stop before I went through the intersection. It was a bit of a wake-up call. Fortunately, I don't have that much further to drive once I get off the freeway, and I was able to get to work safely, but that was a little bit of a reminder to slow down and consider my elements a little bit. I think that happens to most of us once a winter, and then we remember, oh yeah, that's where we go. Unfortunately, I go in early enough that I did not have any issues with other traffic either. Okay, so if I go on like this and have all my sequins in the middle, you can tell that you have better options for attaching the front of the card. So do that, adhere it. That should be enough to hold my card front on and not have to add anything in the corners. And so there we go with our shaker butterfly. I could put this on, but now that I look at it, I think it's covering way too much of my butterfly window, and you're not necessarily going to see all the sequins. So I am choosing not to do that. But had I put that on, I just want to show you what one of the body parts would look like on that butterfly too. So it's cute, and I will use it on another card, but it's not going to be cute enough to put on this card. All right, so the next thing I need to do is place my happy birthday sentiment on here. And because I've already got this popped up a little bit, I am not going to pop it up on here. This card will require some extra postage most likely so that it doesn't get crushed in the stamp machine at the post office. Remember I said I wasn't going to stick anything in the corner. I was not telling you the truth on that. What I'm actually going to do is put 2 dimensionals here because that's going to get it closer to the height of the foam pieces that I've used and not sag down. When I just went to put my sentiment and place it, I discovered that it was really crashing down low. So I am just stacking up 2 dimensionals in each corner, and that gets it at the same level. And so I don't have to worry about those corners sagging at all. And you can either put your dimensionals on 2 at a time before you pull them up, or stack them like I was doing just now. So that's the problem, is I got this suite and I was so excited to start using it, I didn't practice with it. And so some of the things I'm learning, you're learning with me live. And we'll stack those 2 together. That gets the last corner. Okay, that just gives it a little more stability. I don't think you need any more than that. And then all I need to do on the front here is run some adhesive along the back. And I think I'm actually going to put it right up here. That's not where I thought I was going to put it when I first made it. So here you've got your butterfly shaker card. We're going to put this piece on the inside. I realize that this video is making those shaker cards look a little harder to make than they are. If you forget my first attempt and just put it in the center of where your window is, it goes a lot easier. They really are simple. I just made it look a little bit harder. Sorry about that. There we go. We've got a balmy blue Beautiful Bokeh butterfly card, shaker card. And these pieces will move around in here. Be fun for the recipient that gets it. And when they open up, it'll be time to celebrate. I hope everybody enjoyed making this card, or watching me make the card. and that you will give it a try. If you do, please be sure to post it down in the comments. I really think we can keep inspiring each other with our creativity, and you might not like exactly what I did, but you might see somebody else have completed it and come up with an idea of your own based on that. So take care, everybody. Have a great week, and we will see you next Monday for Make It Monday. Bye-bye.